I'd hate to say, I don't mean to show off, John, but ESL1 Thailand, a long time ago, when I first saw Yopaj, I said they've got to be careful. He will get poached eventually. And if it's a bargain, it's a bargain. I don't know how they got it so cheap, but 27-2-10 was the scoreline from our mid-ember last game. How much time was that in? 38 minutes. It's an unbelievable performance, and people in the chat have been saying it, John. I mean, I don't even have to say it. He was the real carry that game. I think that's the one thing you can rely on with this man, is if things aren't going well, he's going to find a way. Every time. That's why they call him the idol. He's always able to find the light at the end of the tunnel. And now we've got a Weaver Monkey King to get us started. SMG, they've got to try and turn this around. It's a best of 5. You need every win you can get. You want to swing the momentum back your way now if you're SMG. It's not so much as a race as it is a journey in a best of 5 grand final. So Bloodseeker Venge is the opening. So you've got a nice combination with the Rupture swap. Should be the offlane Venge for KP. I imagine it's the pos 5 Bloodseeker for Rogi once again. I don't think Rogi was the problem last game either. I think he did a fantastic job. Where do you think they went wrong though, John? Because, you know, that first 20 minutes, it was a really good time for SMG.
Maybe it came down to just that build-up. I think the skill build-up in Luna didn't do them that many favors. I think you could have maybe just gone for 1 point Lucent Beam, max out your Glaives and the Blessing. So you'd still have the push presence. It didn't feel like that Eclipse really did much, because it would still be 5 years clumped up, so the damage would be spread. And again, once they lost that one big fight in the top tier 2 push, the recovery process there for mid 1 was cut off, because he had level 1, no levels in Glaives, level 1 Glaives at, 15, 18 minutes in. So progression was a bit too slow. I think they've got to be careful about going all in that way. They do have some good synergy coming out now from SMG though. So they start with Bloodseeker Venge, as mentioned. Likely a pos 5 Bloodseeker, but they've got this cheeky play with Rupture Swap. So you will be able to at least mark someone down, try to bring them down. The Bloodseeker is a good answer to a Weaver, just because you could Rupture Weaver. The Rupture is going to last through the time lapse. You can try to silence him with Blood Right. Of course, down the line, he's not going to care about Rupture. He's still going to run around and do what he wants, just avoid the silence. But initially, this is going to give them a good tool to keep CTM's Weaver locked. And if that will be CTM, it's likely to be CTM's Weaver, as that is the favorite position for Boom to play that from. And of course, the Monkey King for Tims, again, he did a lot of work. Like, I just don't know how he does it. How does he play pos 4 and outfarm FBZ, outlevel FBZ every single time he gets this Monkey King? It's just ridiculous. And FBZ is a great player. You know, he's trying to make space in the offlane tree. He's throwing his body out, but to be ahead in that extent as a pos 4, that's kind of insane.
Yeah, I mean, he's out. He's making a higher salary than the boss right now. I mean, Tims is he's outselling FBZ. That's, you know, I guess FBZ's happy about it. You know, the performance is there for sure. Is SMG something a little bit different now, John? They're going to go into the Nyx Assassin, right back into that comfort position 1 for mid 1. They'll go back to the PL. Last game around, well, last series rather, he was destroying on this PL. I believe it was a 12-minute diffusal blade timing, along with the treads and everything else, the wand. Definitely great timings out for mid 1 with this hero, and certainly a lot more of a harder carry than I would argue the Luna is right now, especially with the way you built up that Luna last game. It does seem like SMG want that kind of late game powerhouse now for mid 1. And I can't quite blame them. I think if you, after game 1, a game like that, you would rather go down, I'd argue, the safer route.
For sure. I think the big issue for Boom is they don't have a good PL counter. So the Ember was banned out. The respect ban the Opage Ember. They could try for a Gyrocopter, although, again, Gyro into PL can be a bit dicey. And there is the option for Legion Commander, but the issue is you've got Death Prophet, and that's likely our FBZ hero. They could flex that to mid for Yopaj, but we always talk about this with Yopaj. If he gets something static like a DP, he can still play it well. It just feels like you lack that impact that Yopaj can bring, and they do bring out the Kunkka instead. So with the Tidebringer, you've got some way of locking down the PL. You've also got the X back. If you can time that right after you see the Doppel committed, you can kind of try to lock in that Phantom Lancer as well. So it's some control, some damage, and what AoE for the Phantom Lancer, for the illusions. Plays nicely with the DP and Monkey King, and even a Weaver. So you've got the boat buff coming in. Eventually you'll have Weaver Ags. The DP is hard to kill off. The Monkey King in Wukong's is very hard to kill off. So they can stall these fights out from Boom. There's not that much magic damage yet on SMG, and that's something this lineup can abuse.
Absolutely. SMG final ban out now. They're banning out the Leshrac, so maybe focusing on the it's hard to know what to ban right now against Boom, right? Because it should be the mid conker, potentially the offlane DP, but the Weaver could be a support, could be the position 1. Very, very hard to kind of guess. I think the safest assumption we can make right now on Boom's end of things is the Monkey King is probably going to be the position 4 again for Tim's. But do you think they'll go like support Weaver? Because it'd have to be a position 5, right? Unless they go the pos 4 Weaver, pos 5 Monkey King, or even the pos 1 Monkey King. Very open. I suppose even the pos 3 Monkey King's a thing.
Yeah, it could be for FBZ. We haven't seen that too often. I think... Let's say they flex. I think it's likely the flex will come on the Weaver, as you mentioned. So maybe a pos 1 Weaver for Palace, let's say. Let's say they put the Kunkka on offlane for FBZ. We've seen that a couple of times. So let's assume a Monkey King for a DP5. That allows them to flex on mid as well. If they don't want to kind of have the Kunkka mid or DP mid, they want something flashier for Yopaj. That could be one way to do it. I don't quite enjoy the concept of that lineup. Like the hard support DP, we've seen it be impactful, but it always kind of feels strange because you're tied into your exorcism. Sure, it's not as pertinent for you to use that in a big team fight and for a push. You don't need to look for max efficiency. You're still missing out on some of the impact of that hero if you don't. And it's still like the core-to-core matchup of Weaver into PL. It's not something the Weaver can necessarily handle. I guess you could go Maelstrom into Mjolnir, so you can kind of just bounce your attacks around and proc it off the Geminate attack. You could just go that route. I don't know if that really lines up against a PL, though. It doesn't sound amazing. Feels like you need a bit more than just a Weaver Kunkka there.
Wait a minute. Is this another mid-moon Mirana we're looking at, Jonathan? I think it might be.
It looks that way. Yeah.
I did do a bit of research, by the way, after yesterday's series, because we saw the mid-Mirana come out from Moon, and this is all the way back from his days in Mineski, John. We used to see him bringing this hero up.
Yes.
Long time ago, but, you know, it's a bit of a throwback to the past, as now Boom Esports will go for a Phantom Assassin into the PL. I mean, I guess the evasion's very nice against the Phantom Lancer. I don't know if it's an easy matchup, but go on, John. You've thought of something. There's a light bulb on top of your head right now.
I think the PA's evasion, because now it's 50% max, right? They bumped that by 5% per level.
Yeah.
50% max, you go for the talent, you basically get what? 70 to 80% evasion. That forces the Phantom Lancer to have to go for maybe an MKB, maybe a Bloodthorn. Both are large farming items. And that just gives the PA so much more forward presence. You look at the lineup of SMG, their magic damage is basically constrained to the Mirana. Maybe you could try Rupture Swap as an option, mainly on the Mirana. So all of your magic damage is on Mirana, some of it's on Afu's Nyx Assassin. Paulus has a lot of leeway here. A BKB is going to save him entirely. Then you still have to deal with the issue of evasion. There's no natural Silver Edge carrier on hand here. You could try Silver Edge PL to play that old school PL, you know, pretending you've got the old Spirit Lance out, right? Because you used to go invisible. We have seen that before, but I think Paulus has a lot of value here. And again, you tie that in with the durability from Boat, with a time lapse on the Weaver. You can play this on edge on Boom Esports side.
Well, give it to me, John. Who has the superior draft? Game number 2.
It's a lot closer, I think. SMG's draft is looking pretty good. I will lean towards Boom. And my only reasoning, it's not something that's very sound analysis. I just like PA.
Okay.
So I'm just biased towards PA. I'm going to lean towards the PA. I feel like the changes to her evasion are ridiculous. Great. 50%. 50%, that's half of your physical damage just gone.
Do me a favor.
How do you burst her down without a finger?
Don't say the word bias when we're casting, John.
Right.
Yeah. People in the chat, they'll be like, "Oh, these idiot bias casters."
I just like my PA. Okay, I'll rephrase that. PA is my waifu. There you go.
Well, I don't know if that was any better, John, but thank you for that. I appreciate you rephrasing. So John's waifu, the PA, one of his favorites, of course. One of many waifus of John X Fire. You believe you like the Wind Ranger as well? So I'm not correct?
Yeah.
Anything
yeah.
else? Any other
Good
heroes
Ranger.
that you're a big fan of, Jonathan? You'd like to share with the
Used to
classroom?
play. Yeah, I used to play a lot of Crystal Maiden. I haven't recently, but yeah, Crystal Maiden's there.
Speaking
Warlock
of,
is my biggest waifu, I think.
okay,
Warlock
fair enough.
and Undying, of course.
Yep.
Undying and Underlord. The very dominant heroes. One would arguably say simple heroes because I have a very simple brain, Mike.
No, I mean Undying's a bit of a Giga Chad right now in the current meta, John. So nothing wrong with that. Speaking of the Crystal Maiden, surprise, surprise, no nerf coming out for Crystal Maiden. Very upsetting
Right.
stuff. I was reading through the patch notes trying to find her. No movement speed nerf, which I don't know, John. I don't know if Icefrog wants to risk it. You know, before TI, not nerfing CM, what are we gonna do?
Do you think we'll ever see CM hit the newest low move speed? You reckon we'll ever hit like say something dumb like 260?
I'm
Can you
thinking
imagine?
imagine
That's
250.
nearly unplayable.
Just 250.
No, God, that's unplayable. Imagine if there's a Bat Rider in the enemy team and your turn rate gets affected. It's like you might as well just not play at
Exactly.
that point.
Exactly right. Just how Icefrog wants the Crystal Maiden plays to feel. Just don't play this hero. This hero is not for playing. Just have it. Just buy some cosmetics for it. Buy the Arcana. You look fantastic. 250 though. I mean, imagine you just round it off to 250 movement speed. Just make it so she can't walk. Even better. Just break her legs.
What are the Wolves of Ice Rack doing for her to say that she's the swiftest them? Yeah, how slow are those wolves? Are they even alive? Is she sane?
What's a snowy
Is she
place, John?
mentally up there?
Well, they're trekking through the snow, John. It's very hard to be fast when you're trekking through snow, isn't it? I realize in the Philippines it's a bit of a tropical environment. You don't get snow there. But let me tell you, it's a bit of a slow process.
Yeah, I suppose that's something that I don't think a lot of people from tropics ever think about. Like, people, I've met, teachers from America when I was in Singapore, and they're always like, "Oh, you wouldn't like this," and I'm like, "Really?
Nah,
I
you
think
wouldn't.
I would, because it's too bloody hot."
You
know?
wouldn't, trust me. I hate the snow. And we only have like a small patch of snow where I am. As Mid-One's put the question marks up. Never mind the snow talk, Mid-One. He's got some questions here. Very long pause as Tim's is struggling. I know Mid-One, it's been he just came back to the region essentially a few months ago. Fair enough, but Mid-One, this is how we do it around here. We like to have our pauses before the game does truly begin. It looks like CTM,
Yeah.
ironically enough, is the one asking for a timer for his team. So CTM putting the pressure on Tim's now.
Yeah. Just he has to show up as the bigger man, and if someone's gonna put his team down, it has to be him. Only he gets bully around his team. That's the message he's sending here. I'm surprised we haven't gotten a reply from our admin. Where's that timer, admin?
What timer,
Zex?
John? What timer, John? That was meant to be a timer?
We'll see. Shout out to Mr. Zex, of course. I believe he was in chat as well. So chat, if you enjoy, make sure to @Zexerus Mods. There you go. Here's the replied in time.
Thank you, Zex.
Never mind.
6 minutes of pause time remaining. Seems like SMG is planning on forcing that timer as well. If it does run out, which is, it's fair enough. You're in a best of 5 grand final. You don't need to do any favors for the other team. It's all about winning.
Yeah, certainly is. And, I want to go back to a point with Mr. Yopaj. Again, back to that point. Saw him with a gigantic burger from my town. Saw him get advertising from a PC store. I'm like, is Yopaj just loading up right now?
Yeah.
Like, he gets back home. He gets free burgers. He gets, I don't know what he got from the PC shop. He played in the net cafe because his internet went down one point. Yeah, because his net went down and a certain company wasn't quite fixing it up for him. So he's looking for something else, had to play in a shop. And he was immediately featured there too. It's like everywhere Yopaj goes, everyone knows his name.
Could you imagine?
Like,
could you imagine being a young man in the Philippines just walking past, like, I'm going to go to the internet cafe today? Because, you'd imagine the internet around his area was down. And you walk in and there's Yopaj just sitting there playing a pro match. Like, how shocked would you be just seeing the idol in the flesh, just standing there, just playing some Dota? I had this experience as well, John, by the way. I mean, go on. What was your story?
I was gonna say if that happens, the likely thing is the people going to the net cafe shop will just see him, comment on something he's doing wrong, and go play their own game. That's like the wait, but not come in. And they walk away and they're like,
Just drop a casual bobble and just walk out.
yeah,
Just
bobo, bobo, come on, and you just walk away. That's it. That's how we do it here. No respect.
I actually had a similar experience, right? Like I remember telling you back when I actually did a LAN, only one, locally in Oz. And Anna walks in on me. I was doing the group stages. And I kid you not, I've told you this story, you know the story, but for the viewers out there, Anna walks in just casually as I'm screaming my lungs out in a room, and he just comes in and walks behind me and starts watching the game. And the amount of pressure on me, John, because there's a TI winner. This is after he won his first TI. He's just casually standing behind me, just watching me cast, not saying a word, no gesture, no wave, nothing. Just standing by, and I'm just profusely sweating at this point as well, because the air conditioning, of course, wasn't working that day. And Anna's standing right behind me, and I'm just like, man, am I saying the wrong thing? I think I was solo casting to make matters worse, so I was like, am I analyzing wrong? Is he judging me? I don't know if he was entertained. Maybe he thought I was some kind of nutcase, just screaming at a computer screen the whole time. But that was my story. A lot of pressure. These TI winners just standing behind you, chilling out. Very, very scary stuff, let me tell you.
Did he ever say anything, or did
No.
he just walk away after?
Didn't say
some
one
point?
word. Not one word. He just stood behind me for like 2 minutes, calmly watched, made no gesture, and walked out. That was it. I can't tell if he walked out in disgust. Maybe his hearing was suffering a little bit. He just couldn't handle it anymore. But he just walked out of there. And for the whole match, I thought to myself, man, am I just a terrible caster? Is that why he walked out? Like, did he hate my casting so much? Like, obviously, he wasn't going to sit there all day. He's a busy man, right? He just won TI at that point. It was a couple months after he'd won TI. But I was like, man, he didn't even wave at me. And this guy's like half my age. He wouldn't even wave at me, John. Just, I was so sad. KP.
Even here, we still can't leave March. We can't. Here's March. He's not even here, KP. All right, we'll do it. March doesn't mind.
Oh, Mango March. Mango March is back, KP. Just recites what his old captain would have said. Oh, I love March. Shout out to March. Might be watching right now. I know he's busy with, coaching T1 and, a little tournament called TI is coming up in 11 days from now. But, shout out to March. We miss you, March. Come back, please. We miss... He was the one player you could make jokes about non-stop. And he'd probably laugh when he heard it. There was never he would never get offended. He was just that kind of guy.
Yeah, just super chilled out. He always he always brought that dynamic to TNC that I felt like, because I always imagine it as complete, absolute chaos with 3 Filipino players. KP's just quiet in the corner because he's very, he's a very quiet, calm guy, KP. And March is the guy who has to make sense of it because obviously he's the captain. And the Filipinos will just do Filipino stuff. Like, we talked to Boom, right? We talked to FBZ outside of a game, which means basically anytime they're bonding, they just speak in Filipino. So it's just madness. FBZ has no info. And then that's the kind of situation I imagine March was in. And he has to reel the circus together. He has to lead as a circus leader, And that's it. It just leads to a very relaxed attitude. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
That's all you can hope for.
I met KP as well in the flesh, by the way. Same tournament. I was at the after party bar, and I was I was a brand new caster, first LAN. I'd never met any of these players. I'd been destroyed by KP in a pub before, back in the Dota 1 days, but I met KP at a bar, and I was that just crazy fan that said, "Oh, KP, can I get your picture?" He didn't smile in the photo, but I've still got the photo. He looked so unhappy. He looked like an unhappy kid where his parents had dragged him along somewhere he didn't want to be. And there's me just smiling like a complete clown. And he just looked straight at the camera, dead in the face. Just absolutely dead. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
We have an unpaused. It's a 4v5. 4v5 scenario in this best of 5 grand final. What was the last word said? Palos says okay.
It was... Yeah, and Afu's just, who unpaused? And then Mid-One says, G. Afu's like, I'll take responsibility. Let's go.
Yes, boss.
So, Yeah, there it is. He's in charge. He goes for the unpause. Boom, they still, they can still reconnect. It's still early in the game. They're gonna be lacking Tims for a while, and that could impact them hard. We talked about his Monkey King's influence, the information he gets, the work he does from laning phase, the fact that he always overtakes FBZ. If he doesn't manage to play this game early on, well, that might not actually even happen.
Well, on the bright side, John, apparently right now he's a courier, so he can do something. Even though he's not connected, he's just going to cosplay couriers right now while the rest of his team does play out the game. And I was wondering whether somebody's going to bother trying to micro him. But I guess at the level... Oh, maybe they are. He's coming. He's on the way. Just rolling his ball of yarn. I don't know, at level 1, it's quite hard to actually pull off the micro. See if they go through with it.
The issue is none of your heroes are, like, very safe to just kind of ignore. Maybe FBZ's doing it because he's hiding in the tree line, so could be holding Tims right now.
Battle begins.
You don't have the sign.
Well, bounty's out. It's a 3-for-1 trade. Naturally, you're going to be at the disadvantage here for Boom Esports. CTM, I believe, is microing Tims. He's still a courier, by the way, as they're going to chase down mid one. And yeah, he's following CTM. That's it. CTM, he's going to control him. CTM is now both the supports.
Can you imagine the value in having a player who can play literally both pos 4 and 5 in the same game? How do you deal with that? We'll see if CTM can maintain that presence. He's already doing a good job of kind of cutting off Raji in that top lane, and is going to have to TP back. Of course, we've got Palos versus mid one. So they do switch out the off lane. Palos goes up top on PA instead. There's some really good back and forth they can do here. And if the lane does get tough, you have the Stifling Dagger to play with, so you're not always going to be cut off. But CTM...
Oh, CTM, they're going to pick on him. They know he's microing. It's not going to be easy. CTM, he'll try his best, as it's going to be a bit of an aggressive trial lane considering the circumstances. They will adapt this way. Palos, he'll be around as well against mid one and Rogi. So I guess this is the only thing you can do to try and adapt to the current circumstances, as Tims is going to move in now. Rogi, don't die like this, sir. Yeah, I mean, I know it's a 3v2, but it's really still a 2v2, as he will back
Tims
off,
is back.
and Tims is back. And if this was a pub game, John, you know what would be happening right now. Tims, he'd be right through the mid lane. But luckily for Boom Esports, this is a grand final, and Tims, he'll get right back to work.
All things considered, around 2 minutes of actual game time where Tims wasn't there, they still managed to get some good impact. They're holding the top lane well, and Palos is getting the last hits. Mid one's actually suffering a bit in that lane, so we'll have to see if they can hold out against the trial lane. Like the minus armor stacking down the line with a swarm coming through, the damage of Shukuchi, the mobility of a monkey and a weaver. You don't have stunts in that lane, Raj. You can't really stop the dives in. There's a lot of aggression for Boom to still play with, but we've got a bit of an opportunity to look at the other lane, so can maybe sneak a peek at mid. Moon on that mid Mirana again. He had a lot of impact the last time we saw this hero. It was against Boom as well, where he brought this out in their first game. Yopaj is on that Kunkka, and he is getting harassed out. Like, he can kind of play with the Tidebringer, but Moon, if he gets aggressive with the Leap Arrow or Leap Starstorm, he can just burst through, and we have seen Moon do that. He's willing to put his body forward for those opportunities.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Oh, we have a first blood. Top lane, CTM's going to drop. Rogi going to be able to secure first blood there on the Bloodseeker. And well, we saw this in game one as well. He's been very good at just enabling mid one to farm while he pressures on the Bloodseeker. And he finds another first blood for himself in this grand final.
Yeah, it's a really nice pickup coming out there for Raji. He managed to punish that Weaver. The trial lane so far from Boom, not quite giving them as much in terms of kill opportunities. And you are seeing mid one start to catch up. So at some point they might look to split it up, and they do. CTM does head bot instead to help out FBZ. FBZ is on that Death Prophet, laning up against Afu and KP on the Venge Nyx. They've got pretty good double stunts once more, and they could punish the Weaver. There's no spike carapace yet. But once that's up, CTM has to be a bit careful with how he Shukuchis in lane. And we have another pause. But they don't have pause time.
There's no, straight unpause. Who's that? Palos? He's This really is a pub game. Zex, do not pause. And there you go. The unpause again. Yopaj, He's gonna resume this time around. Oh, that brings back some bad memories from earlier today, John. I had this experience in one of my pub games. Bot lane, the lane we haven't had to discuss so much yet. Arfu and KP against FBZ and CTM. Arfu taking a substantial amount of damage. KP doing just fine on the bench so far. Of course, we do have dual lanes versus dual lanes now, as well as CTM has rotated down to the bot lane, so they will give up on the aggressive tri lane and try to make the dual lanes work instead.
I think CTM's still going to have impact here. Again, they haven't opted for an early level in Spike Cactus yet. Perhaps by level 4, we can see that come out from Afu. So CTM can still just weave in and out from Shikuchi and try to do as much damage as he can. For the most part, though, you're not really stopping KP from farming. He's still getting the last hits. And he's still going to have a really fast Ags timing because there's not much presence from FBZ because he was solo early on. He isn't going to be zoned out. But you have to ask yourself, are you doing enough to stop the Venge? And it certainly doesn't feel like it.
That does not. Back to that mid lane for a second, Moon. He's having a really nice time on this Mirana. 28-7. Top of the CS board. And just the value you can get with that arrow, just being able to go to the large camp, taking out the large creep, even stacks it up for himself. Really great timing with that rotation there from Moon. Of course, Yopaj, well, right now he can't even fight. He can't even farm that small camp as it was blocked off with the sentry. Eventually, we'll be able to get rid of it, but he's already lost so much CS for himself. His top lane, Rogi, going to be in a spot of danger. Palos going to try and chase him down. Salve is going to be cancelled off. Palos still moving forward, but Rogi, he's quite healthy, and now the tree cut as well will not allow Tims to follow up as they will get Palos, and they might even find a second kill here onto Tims. In fact, mid one doesn't have the mana to keep the chase up, but you got the better target in Palos.
Yeah, really slowing down the pace of the game for that PA. They're trying to be aggressive on Boom's side. They just completely ignore the wave. They go chasing around for the Bloodseeker, don't have enough damage to get that kill. And this is going to stall out the timings for Palos. I'm curious to see if he does change his itemization up. He does change lanes now, though. He TP's bot, he wants to have a steady farming lane, but he has to watch for the stuns.
Uh-oh. Palos, it gets caught out immediately. TP's down bot lane, but Moon was there waiting for him. So I guess they kind of read the movement, or they get very lucky on the side of SMG. And Boom Esports, not having a great time so far with your waifu, John. FBZ,
yeah,
may get dived as well. Spirit Siphon's out. KP will be chased down as CTM's going to rock up. In the end, nobody else is going to die down to this bot lane.
It's looking like a really good start for SMG once more, though. Like, they're just keeping Palos down. His farm is really stalling out. Like, PA really needs Battlefield to get going, although Yopaj rotates bot.
And big Tidebringer hit. I'm sure that KP does die to the boat damage, and now Afu, I don't think it's quite safe either. Yopaj will find a quick double kill, and with the haste rune, he'll run right back into that mid lane.
Step lively now. Your admiral is on board.
And it's something they really needed because it's been a slow start. I think right now they're going to be relying on Yopaj to build that momentum once more. FBZ is too far behind on that Death Prophet. Will still have a decent level spike at 6, but you're not getting enough space for Palos and FBZ to get built up. So it's down to Yopaj to show his body forward. If Palos can't even farm mid, it's like Moon shows up, Starstorm's maxed out, the magic damage just rips through a PA. And I'm still really wondering what Palos builds up here. Only has the Band of Elvinskin queued up, perhaps looking for power treads down the line, but no Battle Fury queued up. Maybe you just go for, say, Desolator Rush, go for a fighting PA. That could be an option, but without, say, a Battle Fury, you will be overwhelmed by the illusions unless Yopaj is around. Like, that's your only answer. It's Tidebringer from the Kunkka. And you're not going to have Yopaj around every single time, so the PA might just want that value in the Battle Fury this game.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Yopaj, John. He's gone down to the bot lane now, so they've swapped lanes with Palos. He'll take over the mid lane instead on that PA, and he's had such a bad time that they have to give him that solo XP down in the mid lane. It's not going to be that easy, though, because you're up against an almost level 8 Mirana there from Moon. And you get clipped by an arrow. That could be a very quick death. So you already see Palos trying to farm the side camp. He'll have to be very cautious, though. I think SMG They understand how much Palos is suffering right now, and they'll take every advantage they can get to try and knock him down again. It's now bot lane. FBZ going to be dived on. Blood Right's there. He got the siphons off in time, however. And Yopaj is going to be around the Kunkka to try and chain and turn back in onto KP. Arrow is not going to land. They'll get the Venge down, and now Rogi will have to try and run as the chase continues. They want to give another kill to the Kunkka, but it will go to FBZ this time.
Step lively now. Your admiral is on
They
board.
find the big trades. They are in position to actually use this Exo to push the bot tier 1 if they wanted to, but Yopaj does TP away, looking for more farm teams everywhere, so not in full commit for the push. They do get the good punishment going though. And we're starting to see the effect of that Weaver support. It's highly mobile. Shikuchi's at level 3 now. Time-lapse is ready to go. And the control from SMG to catch Weaver just isn't quite there yet. And they could try to set up with Spite Carapace instead, waiting and guessing when CTM does weave in. But if they don't get that initial stun, there's a lot of tools for CTM to just zip away, and he does get some good info out.
FBZ gets swapped out by KP, but again with the siphons, he's alright for now. CTM's going to rock up and try to go right in onto the backside, try to take down KP, and he does get him. He's got the Venge down. Afu going to try and run, but CTM with the earn out. He'll keep the chase up just by himself onto the next assassin, but now he'll get punished. Eventually they get the Impale off into the Arrow, and that'll prove to be enough to get rid of this Weaver.
Still a really strong trade for Boom though. Support for an off lane, slowing down KP's time once more. They even managed to catch out Tim's though.
Do they? Mid one? They should be just fine once he has the rush back up. Tims. He'll get the Primal Spring away. Yopaj was around the corner if he was required. Looks like he won't be though. It's mid lane. Just such a slow process for Palos here, John. You look at that farm. Just the Ring of Health up. We're about 10.5 minutes in. He's trying his best to catch up, but there's definitely going to be a really nice spike here for mid one on that PL once that Diffusal Blade's available. I have a funny feeling SMG, they'll just try to run down the side of Boom Esports once it is there.
Yeah, that's all they need on Phantom Lancer. For Palos, it's a patience game. It's Battle Fury, it's Desolator, it's BKB. They are making moves bot though, Moon.
Big stun out, but the swap is there. Moon should be able to just leap away as now the Rupture is going to catch FBZ, and Afu's going to sneak in from the backside, gets a double impale off, and locks them all down. They've got FBZ. Can they find the idol? First they'll go after Tims, but it's onto the Kunkka. In fact, they might have to deal with CTM instead, but no, they want Yopaj. They want that big target. Rogi, he's trying, but he'll get caught in a torrent and will end up going down, and now Palos, he's going to show up. This could be some great comeback XP and farm if Palos can secure some more kills, as Afu now, he'll be next. A double kill out for the PA. And that's something you don't really want to give the way of Palos. He is going to catch up quite fast if you give him double kills like that.
He's just 2 parts away from full Battle Fury now. So it's starting to go somewhere. And you're not quite ahead enough from SMG to feel fully safe from how slow you've managed to make Palos' game. There's still a lot of room for the PA to grow. A lot of room for the PA to still find farm and build up. Not only that, but Yopaj is still getting his immediate spike here. The armlet is just about 60 gold away. So once that's up, bursting down Yopaj becomes basically impossible for the next few minutes, at least for like 2-3 minutes at that point on. And his damage output skyrockets. Those Tidebringers already hit pretty damn hard. You're gonna hit even harder. And that's Boom's signal to play around. So they have a stable core to build off of. For the side of SMG, you've got the Yule Sun Moon, so you can self-set up for Arrow. He is working towards the Ags Rush we've seen him do before. They will go for a smoke play. Maybe you just want to use that simple setup for the Yules, get the arrow, get the kill, and clean off.
Palos, he'll be targeted. He is all alone at the moment. Chosen the creep wave. There's very little mana to play with, so Moon gonna jump right in with the Yule Scepter, but he needs an angle for that arrow. Instead, they'll get the Blood Riot into the Rupture, and that should be more than enough. Palos, he's trying to fight back, but it's not gonna be enough damage quite yet. Moon, able to find another kill on this Mirana. 5-0 so far on this mid Mirana, as Afu now is going to be X'd up towards the south. Silence won't actually land, and with the Vendetta, he might just make it out. CTM, drop the sentry, but Afu is running way too fast. The end should be just fine.
Yeah, it's a big pickoff for SMG, still slowing down Palos. They don't manage to lose anything as well to get some good information on the triangle, prevent any sort of farm from coming through. There are TPs coming down bot though, and they do catch KP once more.
A lot of damage with that armlet up on this Conker. Tidebringer hit. Boat is going to come in and KP's gone. Mid one. He's around and he wants to help, but there's not much he can do at the moment. Apart from draining the mana of the heroes of Boom Esports down at this bot lane, but it's about all he can do at the moment.
And that should open up the bot lane push for SMG. Bit of a slower process, but with mid one showing around, with Diffusal up, there shouldn't be any sort of defense coming out from Boom. That should allow them some more map space to farm and take control of that bot jungle if they want to, and still try to keep building this game up. Still a rather even game, all things considered. 9-8, 1k lead riding on SMG. That is mainly down to how far behind Palos is, as for the most part, Yopaj, Moon are within striking distance. And FBZ and KP are also kind of tied up, which is not good news for KP as his Ag's timing stalled out because of it. But SMG, they've got control of that bot jungle. They've got a really safe spot for mid one to farm. And we haven't seen the full effect of Tim's Monkey King yet. It's not like game one a while ago where he was just out-leveling, out-farming FBZ. He's kind of taking the back seat here. So the emphasis is on that BP to get more laning space and farm up. We're still a long way from hitting one major item on FBZ.
Fu goes for an impel into the arrow onto FBZ, but unfortunately it was all a bait. They knew it was coming. Nafu's gonna drop. Yopaj able to pick up his 4th kill of the game now on the Kunkka. And they might start moving into this mid-tier 1 tower now. X out, Moon. Should be just fine. He has 3 leap charges and the Yule Scepter to boot. The problem is this defense is going to prove to be difficult. With the exorcism out from FBZ, he will easily clear up that tier 1.
Yeah, it's a big objective to take there for Boom. Opens up the top jungle and gives him more space to kind of dive into the Dire side. SMG, they haven't really been playing around their own jungle for the most part. They've been focused on bot. They've been focused on their triangle for the most part. So I don't think it's going to be a major hit to their economy. But mid one is clearing what he can while he can. He is saving up for the Manta style. Not too far off. Already has the Yasha up. And still ahead of the PA by about 1.3k gold. Still has to be careful though. Palos and CTR were very aggressively forward, but shouldn't be able to do anything. And they are limiting the space for Palos for him. He wants to play up here top. He's got the battle here. He wants to clear these camps. Can't really with all the heroes here from SMG.
Definitely will have to back out of there. Still a less than 1k net worth lead to SMG, and we saw this in game 1 as well. They did have the favorable kind of net worth lead for most of the game. Up until you hit that later stage in mid 1. Very risky kind of play here. He's all by himself. He's going to try and back out with the TP. Do they have the damage though? Yeah, they do. CTM will give him the tip as well. Oh, mid 1. Absolutely no friends around to try and help him survive through that.
Yeah, you're not quite tanky yet in that peel. You don't have any strength items besides your power tread, so when you get caught out, when your illusions melt, it's really easy to melt you down with the damage output of Palos, and that's him without the Deso. He's halfway there, just one Mithril Hammer away, and the damage spike for our PA is going to hit into gear. So this is where we start to see the issue of PL versus PA. What do you do about that evasion? Especially since it's going to be maxed out by the next level. Once Blur is at level 4, 50% evasion. And if Palos is feeling flexible, experimenting, level 20 talent plus 35 Blur evasion. You miss out on basically around 70% evasion because of the multiplicative nature of it. But a lot of damage from PL disappears, a lot of damage from your Venge disappears, from your Mirana right clicks disappear. And BKB comes out, so the magic damage is gone as well. Something has to come out from SMG's itemization. Either a Bloodthorn or a Silver Edge on one of these heroes to control Palos, because they've done a good job early on, but they're reaching the point slowly where that PA is going to be very hard to kill off.
Mid 1 getting a little bit, I'd say lucky here, John. He gets a nice Brigand's Blade for himself, but no, actually throws it back in the neutral stash. This is one thing we talked about earlier. I couldn't quite believe the Brigand's Blade somehow got buffed to even more damage. And even now, mid 1 won't take it. He actually goes for the Quicksilver Amulet instead.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice. Like some heroes just don't seem to like the damage. I suppose for him, it might be because the illusions don't use that effect, probably. So it doesn't really benefit the PL.
Another nice kill there. This time FBZ will take it top lane. I do agree with you on that sentiment, John. I do think you are probably correct in that sense. But still a great neutral item now as
KP.
bottom lane, boat's gonna fly in Yopaj. And Tim's able to set up another kill here. CTM sounding pretty confident now on this Weaver. He started with the voice lines. And I'll tell you what, they've got a 2k net worth lead. So they're looking very good here for the side of Boom Esports.
You look at the net worth here, Mike. Palos is now number 2. He was at like number 4 or number 5 a while ago. And he's all the way in number 2 now. He's managed to catch up with his Battle Fury. He's got the Deso up. And I raised the same question. What do you do about PA? Your magical burst, once the BKB is up, is not going to be enough, and you have no source of break. So that ridiculous evasion that's been buffed up, it's always going to be a major factor. And again, PL doesn't enjoy making MKBs.
It's kind of insane that Palos is actually second in net worth, and he might just overtake for the first place slot very soon as the Roshan is going to be focused down. SMG, they are not around to try and counter this out. They're too late to the party, and now the balance is there. They're at least going to pick off Rogi. They might even find a few more as Arfu. He'll be chased down. Rogi, he'll commit the buyback. Do they really want to fight this, though? KP's going to drop immediately. Crit down by Palos, and now they found mid one, but he's going to doppel away. He'll be fine for now. Moon leaping around the team fight, but which way are you going, sir? Tims has found him. The Mirana, that's his last leap charge. CTM's on the case with Palos. They want that mid Mirana down, and they're going to get it too. Moon's gone. Meanwhile, mid one, he'll try and go onto Yopaj. He'll find the Kunkka, but can they escape now? Well, they're going to keep trying to fight. FBZ's down. Palos, he'll man fight here against the PL. He needs those crits. He knows these crits, and he gets them. A rampage up for Palos. He'll clean up. He gets everything he could have asked for. He just crits them down.
You saw the evasion there, man? He wasn't getting hit. Palos, he's untouchable. He's the actual CTM. Can't touch him. If they can deal with it, 50%. They have no source of break. They have no Blood Torrent, no Silver Edge. Their magical damage is mainly on Mirana. And I guess Vendetta from the Nyx, but that's it. Once that's gone, Palos has a free game. He just jumps in. That's it without BKB. And that BKB is just gonna make it so hard to hold him down. And there is a point where it staggers off a bit. Again, if someone manages to build an MKB, perhaps Moon can go for a right-click Mirana MKB build. And then you can kind of handle that PA, or maybe just a Blood Torrent. Something to give some hits. And once you can negate that evasion, Palos loses his spike. But if Boom players place their cards right, if they play while they're really strong, they could just look to get as much off the map and start choking out SMG with a PA spike right now.
Mid one. Moving in again, looking for Tims, and the really annoying things about that support Monkey King, you're just constantly trying to find a free kill by taking down the tree, but hasn't been successful thus far.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
6k net worth advantage now for Boom Esports. Age is still up on Palos. And that's the thing, I'm saying he needs crits, but he already had that secondary life available anyway. It's just kind of fine no matter what. Mid, KP and Moon hanging around. They are spotted by the creep wave. Tims is around. I think they've seen him. Wave of Terror out is going to give the vision, but he will Primal Spring away. And in the meantime, another Exorcism popped here by Boom Esports. And they're going to find this top tier 2 tower no problem. SMG, they'll try to do the same, but the TPs are slowly coming in. But Yopaj immediately gets scouted out. He'll still get an X off. Onto KP on that bench. KP, oh, that's a great illusion dodge out with the magic missile. KP's got no way out now. FBZ at least does end up dropping Moon. He's able to pick up one kill. Maybe they could keep this fight up. Palos now, he'll get jumped by mid one. He's out of mana. There's your Lancers jumping out into the arrow, and they've got the Aegis. They've got one life. Yopaj, he'll keep charging forward. Who does he find? It's probably going to be Rogi. X off into the boat. Rogi won't mind dying for the rest of the team. And in the end, it will pan out to a 2-1. In fact, it's a 2 for 2 if you count the Aegis, but Yeah, in reality, it is still a 2-for-1 in the favor of Boom Esports.
Yeah, I don't think Boom minds at all. Losing the Aegis there, it only had about a minute 20 left perhaps. So about time to use it. They got a couple of good kills for it. Not the biggest kills. I think you definitely want to keep an eye for the PL and Mirana at this point. You want them gone. You want to feed off their net worth. So they do manage to avoid the bigger losses on SMG's side. But Boom still have a big spike coming through. Fresh BKBs up on Palos. Has not used the charge. Can still look to force a fight. He is going for an SNY next. So the stat resist is going to be helpful. Did he cut down Tim's tree? He did.
I didn't quite
That's
see
just
it
for fun.
myself. Just for the lols. Oh, KP gets crit by the dagger. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe the turnaround. Palos. No, he's got the BKB out. Arthur and KP. They just get chopped up by Palos. And he's still blinking around with the rough shot. Just so confident here from our Phantom Assassin. Tim's going to move in. Primal Spring out. Rogi's been scouted. Tim's, he'll just keep going. Rogi's gone. There is no chance of survival. Maybe they can find FBZ, and they do. A nice swap out by KP. And with that Observer Ward, they'll have the vision to keep tabs on the rest of Boom Esports. There's Yopaj, he is dropping low on mana, but now the Torrent is out mid-1. Instantly loses half his HP to that Tidebringer. And to make matters worse, I just saw an Aghanim Scepter coming out for our Kunkka.
Yeah, it's that time. The Torrent Storm coming in. The waterworks, the water park starts flying out. No BKBs yet on the side of SMG, so all of that control is going to be menacing for SMG to have to play into. And we're at the point where I didn't even realize it. KP on the offlane bench is still 14, CTM 17 on the Weaver. That's one of the level differences we're looking at, and that's just kind of ridiculous. Sure, the Venge can still do what it wants with the Ags, but that's just the story of the game. Even Tim's is at 16 on his Monkey King as well. So Boom have just really managed to work this map near perfection, and SMG, they're not out of it yet. As mentioned, they are working on Source of Break with mid-1. He is trying to go for the Silver Edge. That's still a ways off for the PL. And it's hard for PL to sort of keep up farm. He can phantom rush around camps. There's not much camps left for him to take. So they have to wait for that spike if they want to really hammer in on Palos through the BKB. Outside of that, they have to rely on Moon, Arrow's key to get the damage off, and good Store Storms coming through with maybe even a Vendetta. Just line up for that PA kill if it does come down to that.
Yopaj looking to move in, bot lane, Rogi, he'll be there to break the smoke, so at the very least, Rogi in the right position to break the smoke, but man, he disappears fast. And this is in stark contrast of, say, 20 minutes ago where Palos was level 4 against the level 8 Mirana. Still, mid Tims, he does get caught out. KP, able to pick up a nice kill for the side of SMG. But now, the Idol's here. X-Torrent out. KP, he's going to avoid that as now the jump is in with all the illusions out, the mana and the HP, but the crits are out. Afu, he just gets shredded as they're on to mid-1 once again on that PL. Yule's out, and this PL, I don't know if he can actually survive this. There's too much control, there's too much damage, and there's just too many numbers. As CTM, he'll just keep the tips up. KP, he's not out of danger either. Fade grenade out. Oh, it just brings you back to the MLG days, John. The grenade shots.
Can you imagine? I wish we'd see it. Someone getting a kill with a fake grenade use.
Oh, yeah.
Have them at like 100 HP, toss the fake grenade for the kill. I wish we'd see it. Outside of Batrider, of course. Still a great fight for Boom. It was a bit awkward. They did lose Yopaj. So there's a big kill that went out for SMG. But it's even worse for them to lose mid-1. Like, their win conditions keep being kept shut down. They still can't deal with Paulus when he pops that BKB. It is going down towards 6 seconds now. The spell immunity period isn't going to be as long. But he's still a force to be reckoned with. He just blows people up. 1 hit, 2 hits, with a Phantom Strike in. And he's got the full SNY up. So he's got stat resist on hand. Even if you do land your combinations, he's got a window where you can just bounce back in, be safe, run around, do the damage once more. And they're also going to hit this spike with CTM, Mike. Eventually, that Weaver Ags will come out. So even if Palos puts himself in a very compromised situation, you can just time-lapse him back. It's all good.
Well, tell me what SMG need to do though, John. Like, what do we need to see from SMG to have a comeback started for this side?
They're doing the right thing by building up this silver edge on mid one. They definitely need that on the PL. He will need stats afterwards, so I think the build-up is going to have to be either Scotty or Hart afterwards. But once you hit silver edge, you can at least handle Phantom Assassin, although...
Boundless strike right into the blender that is Palos right now, and he's going to get a double. It's the one thing, if you get stunned right next to each other, you just get chopped up immediately by the knives of the Phantom Assassin. And now they go into that mid-tier 2 tower, and this will be no problem. Absolutely no issue for Boom Esports.
And they just melt objectives right now because they did go for the armor corruption talent on Palos. So it's like -9 armor. It's a lot. It doesn't take too long for the buildings to melt. SMG are using that space well. They're playing bot. And back to your point, Mike, back to your question. What do they need to do? Silver Edge on PL is one. Moon is going for an E-Blade, and that should help. At least if someone gets jumped, you can turn them into ghost form, or you could try to turn the PA into a ghost as well. Perhaps additional sources of disarm would also help. Say a Heaven's Halberd on KP might do the trick, or a Heaven's Halberd on Raji if anyone can farm it. And just having more ways to prevent Palos from getting hits off can kind of turn the tide. So we'll see if they do manage to go the route of a couple of halberds coming through. They do have that E-Blade up, so that's one sort of disarm on hand at the least. And that can help, especially since BKBs are fading. You just have to time their fight around forcing Palos to BKB first, avoiding and re-engaging afterwards.
3 seconds for the Roshan. Palos, very patient. He's going to be there to scout this one out. Wants first dibs. There's going to be an immediate smoke, though, from SMG. They've timed this very well. Yopaj going to be around to break the smoke. Moonlight Shadow there. They run right past the Kunkka, but Palos, he's ready. He pops the BKB onto Rogi. The boat flies in right into the back of Rogi on that Bloodseeker, and now KB. He's got no way out. They'll just burst him down, no problem whatsoever. As now Hafu, he was trying to help, but he'll have to back himself out now, as there is no helping. Like mid one and Moon, no choice but to get themselves out as well. They'll still posture aggressively, but what can you do? It's a 3v5. You've got to wait for the respawns, and Roshan's going to get started once again. Arrow is off the mark.
They do have that Silver Edge. That's a Silver Edge reveal on mid one, but he doesn't manage to really get the jump on Palos. Fight is a bit too split out. That is the Roche going their way. They've got the Silver Edge, the Ag Shard as well. So there's a lot of damage output now that can fly through across all the heroes. They've got the second life on Palos. They've got a big window to go for the high ground, and that should be what they gun for. Like, there's not much else to play for. Bot tier 2 still stands.
But where is
not
the shots?
Pertinent thing. It did go to Yopaj, I believe. So he's got Torn Storm and the Tidal Wave. Lots of repositioning spells and lots of utility on that Kunkka.
Start out, Palos. Just fine. Of course, it's very hard to push into this PL shards. That's the one thing. SMG, they have some decent high ground. In fact, they found FBZ with that arrow out to try to blow him up. KP swaps back Moon. Back into the base. It's a nice Impel Arfu. Gonna lock down so many heroes, but they can still lose KP. Palos, he'll be ruptured up. They want to hold down that PA through the secondary life. As Tim's, Wukong's command was there. Palos, though, he's been arrowed. Great swap out from KP again, and now maybe they can move in for this fight. They will go right after CTM on that Weaver. They'll get another kill into the Kunkka. They even found Yopaj. Great defense here from SMG, and that'll be a great amount of XP and gold going back the way of the Dire.
And it's all down to the fact that they've got that source of break on mid one. So they have a way of jumping onto the PA, ignoring her evasion, getting the physical burst off, using their magic spells, and getting the control off. Boom has to be really cautious with the PA going forward. It's a major glass cannon. Still doesn't have a source of lifesteal, no Satanic up, no casual Morbid Mask as well. The Ags are being prioritized first by Palos, and that's going to delay his own lifesteal. So in a prolonged fight, the PA can't actually hold up too long. If it can't survive by evasion, it's going to need lifesteal. And SMG is using this window quite well, and you've seen SMG do this. And the last time we played against Boom, just small misplays by Boom ends up blowing the game towards SMG. They drag that lead back down towards 5k. They find the top tier 1. They're applying pressure on the tier 2 top as well with mid 1, just keeping all the lanes shoved in. Boom, they have to reconsider their approach. I think they need to start these fights now with either the Monkey King or the Kunkka, and have the PA just come in as cleanup, because the BKBs are way too low now to just take a prolonged fight in the PA.
SMG now feeling confident in this game too, to be able to push this game back their way. So posturing very aggressively, trying to take over the map. Boom Esports. Well, they are grouped up. They're going to go for a 5-man smoke. Who do they run into? It's going to be right onto KP. Tims, he's there with the BKB in time. Onto Arthur as well. Silence him up. KP's already lost his first life. But mid 1, he's going to go right onto FBZ. Onto that death prophet of Palos. He's going to be there to help. Mid 1 needs to run ASAP. He's trying. Impel Arthur. He may have saved the day, but not quite. BKB's there in time. They'll keep trying to fight this one out. Arthur, he's trying to run, but it looks like he's not making it. The Torrent Storm will catch him. It's Yopaj now. They may need to make their own escape. Mid 1, he's looking to come back in, re-engage, trying to get a good team fight, but the Torrent Storm is there, or rather just the Torrent. Yopaj, he'll keep trying to fight, but mid 1, he does clean up here, but Palos, he's back in now. Stun is there. Mid 1 trying to run. Dagger, gonna connect, and they get him. Palos, they'll try to back. In fact, never mind, he's back in. Moon and Rogi, they'll keep posturing. CTM, he'll tank the arrow. Imperial, no, it's not enough. CTM will get the time lapse off in time, as Moon now will be chased down by our Weaver. Spirit Vessel out, Dagger in, Yule Scepter. Is it going to be enough? It doesn't seem like it. They find another.
Oh god, it looked pretty bad at first. Araji?
Well, CTM, he might go down here, and he does. Just walks a tile too far, tips her out immediately. Palos at least will go back for the gem.
Yeah, they don't lose the gem. Consolation prize for Boom. They do make that fight work in their favor in the end. They force the buy back out from Raji. They get basically a 4-for-4 trade, but actually more like a 4-for-5 trade. So it does feel better there for the side of Boom. A big issue there was they jump in. Mid 1 couldn't keep the breakup on the PA, and they actually play it super well on Boom's side. They hold back Palos' jump in. They start with Yopaj first, and they manage to start cleaning up around that PA. While the focus is elsewhere, the PA can get the damage in, start doing the work, and the Satanic is being built up now. So we're not too far off from the Satanic. The Ags is major as well, because getting the refresh on the Blur, having that Dispel on Blur is just really strong and keeping up that frontline action for Palos. And now they have the Ags on CTM. When he respawns, he's got that time lapse for his allies on 20 seconds of a cooldown. That's going to be pretty ridiculous. If you were having trouble catching out Palos, if you were having trouble cleaning up Yopaj, with time lapse up for his allies, again, the durability of both time lapse on heroes, it's going to be a lot that SMG has to coordinate to overcome that defensive utility on Boom's side.
SMG still in this game. Win probability right now sitting at 53% the way of Boom Esports. A very close game number 2 of this best of 5. Moonlight Shadow going to be popped. SMG, this is when they feel very strong as they move in, and that's a great spike. Carapace Arfu, he set up a great team fight already. Yopaj, he'll be jumped immediately, but no, he will survive through it. And now the counter initiation onto KP. They will find the Venge. Arfu, he's going to move back in. But the BKBs are out. He can't get a nice impale off. He's just gone. I think you might need to retreat now. They committed the buyback on KP, but it's not going to be good enough. Mid 1 trying to run. Nice arrow out onto Palos, but he is safe in the back. Boom Esports. They'll go for the safer play and they'll retreat. But it's another successful team fight. They do force the buyback there of KP.
It's a big win. It looked good at first, but I've been saying it for a while there, Mike. You know, what do you do about the time-lapse Weaver? You can drop Yopouch as low as you want. You can drop any of these heroes low. They don't have quite the burst to eat through 3.4k of HP in a snap. And CTM's always going to have that value with the time-lapse. And they don't have very long cooldowns outside Exorcism to wait for. So boom, they're just going to smoke, re-engage. If they find the dieback in KP, that's going to open up a lot of possibilities here.
Who are they going to find, though? Top lane, nobody's around from SMG. They're all hanging around the bottom side of the map. Roshan's up in 20, so you'd love a pick-off right now for either team. Nice DD rune down at the bot rune spot, of course, as is tradition. He's going to have it right before that Roshan time is there. See who does spot it out, but it should be SMG that have first dibs on that DD rune. Definitely could be the fight-deciding rune here. Nobody's spotted it yet. Arfu's trying to scout something out of the high ground. KP's now going to move in. And it's a fast Roshan timer, by the way, John.
Yep. Super quick. Double damage. Moon. Well, they find it first. So they could try, but I don't think that's going to lead to Roche. They could take a clean fight, though. Just have to be a bit careful.
Mid one. He'll take the bottle. Get the DD rune. Does have the Eye of Skadi up. Could be a great team fight here for SMG. Who do they target first? Palos, he'll get a reset back at the fountain. Yopouch, he'll take the illusion rune for himself. KB gonna move in, but only sees the Kunkka this far. Now daggers out. Rogi, he'll be targeted, but Palos, he'll back off for a bit. In fact, never mind, they got the X back. That'll be a Bloodseeker gone, and KB, he'll be focused down as well. A secondary kill already for the side of Boom Esports, and there's no buybacks on either hero going down. And that should be a free Roshan, the way of Boom.
And that was so strange from SMG. Raji was on the run from the PA. KP swapped him back in and just placed himself in danger of the PA killing him off. Just awkward switch.
Arfu's in, but Palos, he picks up the Aegis. Arfu, he got stunned midway. Mid one, he's going to try and force the fight with the DD rune, but he's already so damn low, and now the chase is on. Can they get a stun off? Not quite. He's gone invis. However, Moon has been left behind, but no, mid one, he's going to come and re-engage once again into this team fight onto FBZ, but the damage output is way too high. He needs to back off once again. Dagger's there. Palos will blink strike in. Mid one, trying to run. Palos trying to get some cleave damage off the dagger. Still not going to land with the doppel. It's not going to be enough, or maybe it is. Palos is unable to keep the chase up. So much pressure. Mid one, playing on the edge, trying to get as much as he can for his team. They do at least pick off CTM and save Moon's life.
And they're stalling out really well here on SMG's side. Like, what was a 108 seconds with no buyback for KP, down to like a 20-second respawn. So they'll have their full force back up relatively soon. That means Boom's not going to have the numbers advantage going for the high ground play, going for the next team fight. They still have a big window where they could just look for KP once more and kill him off with no buyback. That's still going to open up a massive amount in the map. But it's going to be a bit more work they have to put in. You are seeing that the PL is a bit sneakier now. The stats are keeping mid one alive. He's going into the heart next. So he's definitely just padding out the HP, trying to drag these fights to go as long as possible. Because in a war of attrition, the PL is king. And he just wins out. The illusions keep coming out. They keep burning mana. You run out of stalls to use. You just run them down and keep trying to reset mid-fight. And that is something Boom will have to watch out for. I think if they can, they need to prioritize trying to catch out mid-1. You take care of that PL, a lot of your problems for Boom disappears. At the same time, if SMG managed to have mid-1 playing on edge like that, he can actually clean up the PA at this point.
Mid lane again, we've seen this before. Both teams grouping up. Both want to have a go at each other once again. But there's even Dagons flying out now from Moon. I mean, why the hell not? You've got the arcane blinks, so just kind of abuse it with the Dagon. Of course, with the shotgun, so much amp as Arfu. Nice impale out. He's caught two. CTM immediately blown up. Tims, he will try to trade with the life of KB, but KB, no, he's been X'd back. Shotgun is there to try and help him out, but it's going to be no good. He'll die once. But can they keep this fight going? PL Illusions flying in. Torrent Storm is there, and now Arthur has been caught out right from underneath the earth. He will be dragged back out by the torrents and eventually does die. Dual Scepter out, Moon. Silence is there. It won't be enough, however. Mid one. He's going to try and man fight Palos. They'll try against the PA, but Palos, he's a tanky boy himself with auto evasion. He'll happily fight. As Arthur maybe caught a second time. But no, it's going to be FBZ. He'll get Dagon down by Moon. Arrow's there. They've locked down Palos. He's out of mana and could be in massive, massive danger. But he's got that Aegis up. Tims, he'll hang around on that Monkey King and try to help. But do they actually have enough damage to do with Palos here? With the Silver Edge they just made, as Palos, he's dropping quite fast now. He'll try to crit his way back up, but eventually the Aegis is going to go down. Arrow gonna fly in at the perfect time as mid one. He'll go back in, but Palos, he'll survive through it. Back with the lifesteal. He pops the Satanic. Back up to full HP. Mid one still around. Invis is there, but FBZ now. He's rejoined the team fight. Mid one needs to run ASAP. The dust is there, the shivers. It won't connect, but it won't matter. The Torrent Storm into the boat, but no, the Doppel. Mid one, he's still running, but can he do it? It doesn't seem like it. He's almost there to the next Doppelganger, but no, it's not quite enough. Oh, he tried so hard. He got so far, but John, in the end, it doesn't even matter. It just doesn't. As a Boundless Strike is out. Moon's been caught. And eventually, he'll go down. There's an immediate smoke is there from Boom Esports. They might try to force buybacks on the high ground.
Yeah, they had to work double time to get those kills. And SMG are showing them that it's not going to be as simple. In a very long, drawn-out fight, mid one has a lot to offer on that PL. And he's actually switching his items out. He's not going for Satanic. He realizes the downtime period, waiting for the Silver Edge to go off cooldown to get another break, it's too long. So he's trying to go for the MKB. The illusions do pick up the True Strike, or the increased hit chance, but they don't get the bonus damage. So your illusions don't benefit that much. At least you'll get constant hits on Palos. We'll see if it will benefit him if he can reach that mark. Buyback or force that.
Nice Rupture Swap. Palos, he just gets destroyed. They just zap him to death, and now CTM's gone. BKB TP's out. And that, I suppose that's the one high ground player you can rely on, even without mid one being alive, is that swap Rupture into the shotgun Dagon.
Yeah, it just it's always scaling damage because of how Rupture works, right? So it's pure damage. The movement out will always lead to the same amount of HP being lost. And Palos has to respect that. He does get caught off guard, punished for it. High ground holds for SMG, and the MKB is bought out by mid one.
Well,
so PL MKB, not something you see too often up against the PA. They just need to constantly hit Palos. They understand that. They're seeing the shortcomings of the PA. The fights are taking longer. The BKB doesn't last long enough. And he can get kited around. I think SUV is starting to build up against the PA, and perhaps it's Boom losing out on their timing. This game's starting to drag on. We're hitting the 50-minute mark soon. And SMG, they have a lot of room to grow still. The Mirana can still itemize for right click down the line, is saving up for the Wind Waker, so that Cyclone save is going to be a massive nuisance for Boom in the middle of these fights. And they just got to watch themselves as the Dagons also start piling up. With that Arcane Blink, like that lower cooldown Dagon's actually pretty ridiculous.
It's level 5 Dagon up now. Very, very scary stuff here from Moon. Just so much burst potential. And that BKB just means everything here for Palos. The Satanic does also help with that Dispel, but kind of hard to time that right. So there's actually another DD rune at the top rune spot. SMG unluckily have not scattered it out. And the Courier's barely going to miss out on giving the vision over. And now, Boom, they're going to smoke up again. 5-man smoke. However, Moon has now seen the DD. He'll take it himself. There's not enough time to save it for mid one. Jump in. Who have they got? It's going to be Palos immediately onto the bench. Torrent is going to be nice as well. Right into the boat onto 2, but no. They avoid it immediately. KP, he is still alive on the bench. But eventually will drop here to FBZ. Still has the remnant to play with. Can they find more? The wraparound SMG. Gonna go the long way, trying to surprise as Arfu's in. He's got FBZ with the stun. Follow-up stun out as well with the Lances. They've got enough. They'll take care of the Death Prophet. No buyback on FBZ is now. It's onto Tims. They might have the Monkey, but no, the time lapse is gonna save the life of the Monkey King is now Moon. He's stuck in the Torrent Storm. He'll leap out, but the X is there from Yopaj. Hold him down, take him out, but no, the Impale Arfu. He's back to help out. There's your Dagon Ethereal Blade mid one. He's dropping very low on the PL. He might need to escape as Palos. He'll have the damage. The buybacks are there though. They want to keep this fight going, but the side of Boom have already backed out, or have they? Dagon is there by Tims. Rather, on to Tims. Gem taken by Arfu. There are 2 heroes down with that buyback. It's a 3v5 scenario for SMG. But John, they get unlucky. It's a long Roshan timer.
It's unfortunate for SMG. A big blessing in disguise for Boom. So they're going to have some time to retake the fight, regroup, take control of their lanes, and just rebalance it out while waiting for the next rush. SMG should still be able to find the top tier 2. And that means they've taken out all the outer towers of Boom. No, not much room for them to play outside of their base now. Not much control left for Boom on the map, and SMG is going to be able to abuse that, keep all the lanes shoved in, slowly but surely build up into that next Roche timer. And we are seeing just how strong the lineup can be. The staggered use of their spells, the magic damage on a PA who doesn't have the highest strength, and has a very short BKB duration now, although...
Palos onto KP, just rips through him. And the crit almost killed off Arfu in the back. It's a hard high ground, even with just 3 heroes alive. With the X back on Palos, he can just blink strike in and freely hit the creeps. And they just can't even get through that tier 3 tower.
Yeah, it's near impossible. Just because of that safe play they can do with the X. So the respawns are back up. FBC is here. Tim's at about half a minute. Roshan in about 40 seconds. Moon has been very patient in the Roche pit, just constantly watching it. But it hasn't come out yet. He should be able to get the next fight there, but KP's not going to be up for a minute 20. No buyback. So you're going to have the numbers advantage on Boom.
Palos is alone right now. Eventually his team's going to make it. They do swap Rupture, but it's already too late. Palos, he got the BKB off in time, and now it's onto KP. They want that Remnant gone, and that'll truly mean KP's out of this team fight. For the next minute, it's a 4v5 scenario. And Roshan's up in 10 seconds. So SMG just couldn't get any more unlucky.
No, just not catching a break. Side of Boom, though, aren't as patient in the pit. They do miss out on Roche respawn, and SMG spots it first. So, Boom on the back foot. They could just maybe randomly swarm in, maybe get a check. Pings are coming true. They've got the wards on SMG to watch that Roshan. Neither side budging. Boom, this could be a big opportunity, but they're kind of inching closer towards KP's respawn. And that could lead to a much more even fight for SMG breaking out here.
KP will certainly be back in time. Keep in mind,
the butterfly on mid 1. He's got the evasion up. So the output of Palos now is counteracted. PA doesn't like dealing with evasion as well. That could be dicey. Like if Palos isn't ready, just the 30% chance to evade is enough to slow down the PA's damage output.
No, absolutely. I mean, for mid 1, you've still got to be careful about the cleave damage as well, because that doesn't really care about evasion, but... Oh, Palos, he's going to break the smoke there on Rogi immediately. Rupture, they've got the PA. That's the target they want. Swap out immediately, but they can't blow him up yet. The BKB's going to save as a Satanic. Heals him back up. Dagon's down. They got CTM. There's no buyback on him, but they've also found 2 on the side of SMG, as now they'll get rid of the KP Remnant. Arfu will buy back. So it's going to be a 4v4 scenario. Smoon, he'll keep chipping away at Tims. You've still got to be very wary. Palos, he's hitting so hard on this Phantom Assassin. Even with the extra damage from that Nullifier. And now, that 4th Roshan of the game is going to be so valuable as Rogi will get jumped. Nullifier out. It's not going to be enough. Impels there from Arfu as they try to blow up this PA again, but Palos is still healthy enough to survive as he has a Dagon or other Satanic, but he needs someone to hit. Meanwhile, mid 1.
What?
He went in by himself. He's got no buyback.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's a very scary spot here for SMG. That Roshan is gonna make or break the move. Palos right outside of range of the arrow, blindly true. They're gonna be able to reset, come in for Roche. 100 seconds with no PL. And this is Roche number 4. Or number
Yeah.
4 or 5. Cheese, refresh, Ag's blessing, everything you could ask for. SMG, this could be the beginning of the high ground siege for Boom, and it's gonna be a hard defense without that PL. All their eggs are in that one basket.
Is on board.
I think the Ags went to Tim's, so he's essentially just another core now in his own way. Definitely those statues can be very impactful. Refresher shard, who'd that go to?
Yo, Posh.
Okay.
Of course.
Of course.
Double Ghost Ship, double Torrent Storm, Tidal Wave even. Impactful, so.
Ghost Ship fleet, by the way, John. So many
Yeah,
boats.
could be like 2 refreshes if refresh or the spout. Oh,
Nice
swap.
rupture swap. Arrow there as well with the day gone out. They'll get rid of one in the form of Tim's, but now KP. He's caught out again. The Ghost Scepter not going to help too much as now the Tidal Wave. It'll drag back Arfu as well as KP, and they might get a 2-for-1 deal here. As Boom Esports definitely finding some great pickoffs on the high ground of SMG, and they're going to abuse the timing of mid one being down as they'll go for the T4 towers now, and they might be able to pull this one off. Palos, he's got so much damage. 20 seconds without the PL. Can they do it in time? Halberd out, Dagon there from Moon, but it's not doing enough. The damage is just not there. 10 more seconds, but that Ancient, it's going to fall very quickly here to Boom Esports as they're onto it now. 5 seconds left, Moon. He'll jump in. Mid one, he's just about to respawn, but the Ancient is just completely surrounded, and they'll take game 2. A 2-0 lead now for Boom Esports in this best of 5 grand final. And what a game 2 it was. Is what happened, John?
I saw, oh my god, CTM. He didn't just say GG, Mike. He said